What do you make of the Speaker's handling of this issue over the past couple of weeks?
I think he's scared. I think he's terrified.
Of what?
I think, well, I mean, 80% of MAGA, once these files released, they were promised this, they expected this, and it's not happening. But at the same time, he feels an allegiance to President Trump, who's gone against the MAGA base on this. So I think he's torn. I think the right thing to do would be just leave it up to the people's house. Let us vote on whether to release these files or not.
So that is Republican Congressman Thomas Massie, who has been and is currently being publicly attacked by Donald Trump, who is panicking about Massie whipping votes to help Democrats force Congress to force the executive branch to release the Epstein files. And not only is Trump again publicly attacking Massie, but Massie's actually doubling down, saying if MAGA Mike Johnson won't bring the vote, we will force a discharge petition which bypasses leadership and make the Congress vote on this. It's a stunning escalation in this intra-party fight between Trump and the only principled Republican lawmaker in the House of Representatives, Thomas Massie, and we have to talk about it. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, Massie is doubling down. He doesn't seem to give a damn about the pressure he's getting from Mike Johnson or from Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, he retweeted this. As Sahil Kapoor from NBC notes, Trump trashes Representative Thomas Massie again. I asked Massie about his threat a few hours ago. He said he's not worried. He says Trump allies are, quote, wasting millions of dollars against me, and they're going to lose the majority because of that. He predicts it will backfire tremendously. So here's Trump. Thomas Massie, the worst Republican congressman, and an almost guaranteed no vote on each and every time, is an embarrassment to Kentucky. He's lazy, slow-moving, and totally disingenuous. A real loser. Never has anything positive to add. Looking for someone good to run against this guy. Someone I can endorse and vigorously campaign for. Now, to be clear, Trump has repeatedly tried to oust Massie in a Republican primary, and he's failed, I think, at least twice. Now, could the third time be the charm? Absolutely. It's not guaranteed. And as a general proposition, if you're a Republican lawmaker, running against Trump is almost always political suicide. But Massie's defied the odds, so he feels pretty comfortable about it. So this is what he said to Kapoor. Oh my gosh, that statement is so small. Well, they've spent $1.8 million against me for my congressional district. I think it's had very little effect, but they're trying to beat up on me to keep everybody else in line here. And I think it's not working. I think what's going to happen is this will be a referendum on whether the executive branch controls the legislative branch, and I'm going to prevail. And they're going to find out that it will embolden members of Congress here to go with their heart, with their minds, with their constituents, and not just toe the party line. So he says, you think it'll backfire? I think it's going to backfire tremendously. Number one, if they're willing, I think they're wasting millions of dollars against me, and they're going to lose the majority because of that. But number two, I think it will embolden Republicans who right now are quietly agreeing with me, but saying, I'm afraid of winning my primary. Let's see if you can win yours, Massie. Sorry, the font on that was so tiny on this screen, so it was hard to write, or hard to read, excuse me. But yeah, so Massie's doubling down on this, all right? Moreover, he's doubling down on the Epstein thing. He says it's not going away. House Republican promises to force a vote on the release of Epstein files after Trump attacked. Thomas Massie hit back at Donald Trump this week after Trump attacked him Monday night in a Truth Social post. Massie replied to Newsmax by vowing to ensure the so-called, quote, Epstein files are released. Let's see here. Let's take a look at it. I might have a clip.
President's consultants have spent $1.8 million against me, and I got a new tweet last night, or a Truth Social last night, and clearly that was because I've done this Epstein file. Like, dogs don't bark at parked cars, right? This bill is moving. This is coming to a vote. We've got enough Republican co-sponsors of the bill, twice as many as we need right now, such that when they sign it, and every Democrat signs this, we're going to force a vote on it. It's not going away. President's
Oh, he's doubling down. I love that. I mean, listen, I think that's great. I would love more Republican infighting. I think Republican infighting is objectively good. But I mean, I just admire the chutzpah of this guy, right? I mean, listen, I get it. I want to be very clear. I understand why a lot of Republicans are pissed at Massie. I get it, because you're more effective as a coalition, right? I mean, I was pissed when Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, you know, the on the occasions that they bucked Biden and the other Democrats, especially on major friggin' issues, right? I get it. And MAGA was celebrating when that happened. So now the shoe is on the other foot, and I love it. Love to see it. Podcaster and comedian Theo Vaughn, speaking of Thomas Massie, he's speaking out in Massie's defense. He's like, why can't we put the Ro Khanna Thomas Massie bill for a vote this week? Speaker Mike Johnson at JD Vance. And Thomas Massie's like, that's a great question, Theo Vaughn. Why not vote on the binding Massie-Khanna Epstein legislation this week, Speaker Johnson? We should not punt this until after the 5-week recess, nor should we wait for my discharge petition to ripen and collect the required signatures to force the vote, which is unfortunately what Johnson is forcing at this point. He's effectively forcing Congress alongside Trump into a shutdown 1 week before they go on a 5-week recess. So they're going to be off for 6 weeks, because Democrats and Massie are putting Republicans in a position where they have to vote on the Epstein situation. So in order to bypass it, they're basically saying, screw it, we're gonna effectively go home a week early. This was Mike Johnson bitching about Thomas Massie earlier today.
I'm not going to address anybody individually, but I'll tell you that some here are much more frustrated than others. There's a small, tiny handful, but one in particular who's given me lots of consternation. I don't understand. I don't understand Thomas Massie's motivation. I really don't. I don't know how his mind works. I don't know what he's thinking. Thomas Massie could have brought his discharge petition any time over the last 4.5 years. Over the last 4 years of the Biden administration, he could have done that at any time. And now he's clamoring as if there's some sort of timeline on it. It's interesting to me that he chose the election of President Trump to bring this, to team up with the Democrats and bring this discharge petition. So do I have some concern about that? I do. But you know, in me and my way, I try to follow Ronald Reagan's 11th commandment, never speak evil of another Republican. My gosh, it's hard to do sometimes around here. I also try to follow the scripture. You know, it says, bless those who persecute you. So let me just say about Thomas Massie, could you just accept my Southern, bless his heart, okay? I don't.
So listen, somebody who grew up in the South, this is one of the things that really frustrates me about Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson has terrible policy views. Mike Johnson, I mean, his policy prescriptions are generally atrocious. But the thing is, in moments like these are like really humanizing and charming aspects of Mike Johnson, where he talks about the bless your heart thing. And like, the problem is he uses that Southern charm, that, you know, homespun, you know, bullshit for great evil, because he is just gleefully sacrificing all of his principles on the altar of Donald Trump. When he says that, I just don't know why Thomas Massie's doing this. Well, Massie's principled. That's the point. He's saying that the MAGA base, whose representatives are currently in power, wanted a thing, and Trump promised them that thing. So now it's become more of a priority, because you campaigned on this promise, unlike the Democrats. You won, unlike the Democrats. And you're in a position, much more than the Democrats, to do something about this campaign promise that you and your base made to each other. That's why Massie's doing this. Now, is it possible that Massie's also doing it to stick it to Trump? Sure. And that's also a good thing, because Trump is picking the fight with Massie, and he's putting Massie in a position where Massie has to defend himself for Trump. So perhaps part of Massie's strategy is, I want to show the American people that Donald Trump can be given the finger. It is actually okay for principled Republican politicians to, on occasion, give Trump the finger, because he's not our boss and he's wrong. So this is, speaking of Massie, we'll go back to it. This is Massie introducing his Epstein Files Part 2 binder as a shot across the bow to Attorney General Pam Bondi, who, of course, orchestrated that dipshit Epstein Files Part 1 binder stunt with right-wing pundits and commentators a couple of months ago that turned out to be a total failure.
We'll get phase 2 of the Epstein files, because we'll get, I believe, every Democrat and at least a dozen Republicans who want transparency and justice.
So I doubt there's something there, but I'd rather just put it out there and put sunlight on it.
You know, with the Massie
discharge petition, it's got some teeth to it, and it will pass.
I can tell you for the past, more than a week, the highest volume of calls into my office have been about Epstein. People want the information.
So they're saying that this thing is going to pass, right? And that's why Massie is threatening Trump the way that he is with this discharge petition. So, and look, if you go to Massie's social media page, he's doubling down on this. He's trolling Donald Trump. Again, he's having some fun with this, and I don't begrudge him that at all. I think it actually makes it all the more delightful to watch. But there you go, folks. I mean, so Trump and Mike Johnson, as we discussed in a previous video, they panicked and basically shut Congress down because they didn't want to be put in a position to be forced on taking certain votes. Massie saying, come hell or high water, sooner or later, this discharge petition will pass. Johnson doesn't get a say in it, so that vote is coming, according to Massie, assuming that they don't lose the votes. Seems that some MAGA Republican lawmakers are doubling down on it, and Trump is panicking and lashing out at Massie in particular, and Massie seems to be enjoying it, mocking him and Mike Johnson along the way. There you have it. The Epstein scandal for Trump continues, and he's being screwed by members of his own party, and I love it. I love it. Let me know what you think in the comments.